An Ethernet crossover cable is a type of Ethernet cable used to connect computing devices together directly. Normal straight-through or patch cables were used to connect from a host network interface controller to a network switch, hub or router. A cable with connections that crossover was used to connect two devices of the same type, two hosts or two switches to each other. Owing to the inclusion of Auto MDI-X capability, modern implementations of the Ethernet over twisted pair standards usually no longer require the use of crossover cables. Overview. The 10-base-T and 100-base-TX Ethernet standards use one wire pair for transmission in each direction. This requires that the transmit pair of each device be connected to the receive pair of the device on the other end. The 10-base-T standard was devised to be used with already existing twisted pair cable installations with straight-through connections, and so it required a simple scheme for plugging devices together. When a terminal device is connected to a switch or hub, this crossover is done internally in the switch or hub. A standard straight-through cable is used for this purpose where each pin of the connector on one end is connected to the corresponding pin on the other connector. One terminal may be connected directly to another without the use of a switch or hub, but in that case the crossover must be done in the cabling. Since 10-base-T and 100-base-TX use pairs 2 and 3, these two pairs must be swapped in the cable. This is a crossover cable. A crossover cable may also be used to connect two hubs or two switches on their upstream ports. Because the only difference between the T568A and T568B pin pair assignments are that pairs 2 and 3 are swapped, a crossover cable may be envisioned as a cable with one modular connector following T568A and the other T568B. Such a cable will work for 10-base-T or 100-base-TX. Gigabit Ethernet use all four pairs and also requires the other two pairs also to be swapped. The polarity of each pair is not swapped, but the pairs crossed is a unit, the two wires within each pair are not crossed. Crossover cable pinouts. In practice, it does not matter if non-crossover Ethernet cables are wired as T568A or T568B, just so long as both ends follow the same wiring format. Typical commercially available pre-wired cables can follow either format depending on the manufacturer. What this means is that one manufacturer's cables are wired one way and another's the other way, yet both are correct and will work. In either case, T568A or T568B, a normal cable will have both ends wired according to the layout in the connection 1 column. Although the gigabit crossover is defined in the Gigabit Ethernet standard, in practice all gigabit PHYs feature an Auto MDI-X capability and are designed for compatibility with the existing 100-base-TX crossovers. The IEEE-specified gigabit crossover is generally seen as unnecessary. Certain equipment or installations, including those in which phone and/or power are mixed with data in the same cable, may require that the non-data pairs 1 and 4 remain uncrossed. Automatic crossover. Introduced in 1998, this made the distinction between upper-link and normal ports and manual selector switches on older hubs and switches obsolete. If one or both of two connected devices has the automatic MDI-MDI-X configuration feature, there is no need for crossover cables. Although Auto MDI-X was specified as an optional feature in the 1000-base-T standard, in practice it is implemented widely on most interfaces. Besides the eventually agreed-upon automatic MDI-MDI-X, this feature may also be referred to by various vendor-specific terms including auto upper-link and trade, universal cable recognition and auto-sensing. See also, crossover cable, jack crossover wiring, registered jack, an article which expands on the introduction and evolution of these connectors. References